With this tentative agreement, we've not only won at GM, but over the course of the last 6 days, working around the clock, we have reached tentative agreements across each of the big three. When I think about where this fight began, one thing is abundantly clear. They underestimated us. They underestimated you. These corporations had no idea what was coming for them, and they have no idea what's next.
That was United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain, who should consider running for president. With that said, the UAW has officially signed tentative deals with each of the big three automakers, which is a big deal considering this ongoing strike. And we're happy to report that those deals are full of massive wins for the workers and concessions from the big three. Now, the UAW membership must choose whether to accept or decline those tentative deals. And those votes will happen sometime in the coming weeks. And of course, we will update you as soon as we know what the decision is. But with that said, let's talk about the details as they've been reported in regard to these deals. Now, the union estimates that its members have received a 23% increase to their base wages between 2001 and 2022. I should note for all of you that during the economic crash in 2008, the workers agreed to massive concessions for the big three to survive that economic downturn, and they were not rewarded for it by the big three as they started raking in the profits, which is why they decided to strike. So when you include cost of living adjustments, also known as COLA, which the union also won, the numbers are even better. So let's get to the numbers. Over the course of the 2023 contract, the starting wage for GM workers will increase about 70%. The starting wage for Stellantis workers will increase about 67%, and the starting wage for Ford workers will increase about 68%. Over the course of the 2023 contract, the top wage for GM, Stellantis, and Ford workers will increase about 33%. Okay, so the UAW has also made it easier for workers to get paid more faster. So under the new contract, no worker will be a temp worker for more than 9 months, and workers will now reach the top rate of pay in 3 years instead of 8. Now, between these wage hikes, a $5,000 ratification bonus, and an estimated $8,800 in cost of living adjustments, most UAW workers are expected to realize economic benefits worth $68,200 over the life of the contract. And the UAW's deal with Stellantis also includes, this is incredible, this is kind of unprecedented, okay? Reopening a plant in Illinois that was idle since last spring, and that actually ended up leaving 1,000 workers without a job. They're gonna be able to reopen it as part of these negotiations. On top of that, the UAW also negotiated for their agreements to extend to workers some of the big three's electric vehicle battery plants. So this is how they now have a buy-in when it comes to moving toward electric vehicles. Now, other details in the agreement which are still pending, I wanna be clear about that. Stellantis workers won the right to strike over plant closures, as well as, this is super important, product and investment. So basically, they are now able to strike if they notice that any of the big three are using their profits to do stock buybacks or unfair like dividends to their shareholders, which is excellent. Ford workers won the right to strike over plant closures, and as of reporting this, it's unknown whether or not GM workers won similar provisions. So there's a lot more to get to. Believe it or not, that's not the end of the big wins here in the new contracts. But before we get to it, Cenk, I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in.
Yeah, so guys, this is a gigantic victory. So, and it's really important outside of this particular area as well. But first, I want to focus on the numbers. $68,000 for every single person working at those plants over the life of the contract. Extra $68,000. Can you imagine getting an extra $68,000 over the course of those years? Now that's a win. For the new people coming in, sometimes up to 70% higher wages. It turns out, guys, they could afford it all along. Now, we tell you here, it's all case by case, big company, small company, profitable, not profitable. So sometimes there are real companies that are in trouble, like Rite Aid. We talked about that in a previous show. But these companies made $250 billion over the last 10 years or so. No, they're swimming in profits. So it turns out, as we told you, they could have afforded it from day one. They were just choosing not to share it with the workers, because before this, the unions had sat down and had become the obedient dogs of corporations.
The union leadership.
The union leadership, not the union workers. The union leadership had totally sold out. Look at they were giving all that money away. Oh yeah, sure, abuse us. We're never gonna fight back, right? Now I wanna go on to the both the second set of heroes and people who are guilty. What did the media tell you? Don't fight back, don't. Be civil, be polite. Don't be rude to the people in power. Shawn Fain just proved all of them wrong.
Totally, and by
Shawn Fain, I'm sorry, hold on. Shawn Fain said, I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna fight for these guys and I'm gonna win. And everybody said, oh, you're not gonna win. No way, corporate power's too big. Who do you think you are, huh? And you're doing it wrong. You're being rude and uncivil. Why don't you act right? And he didn't listen, because he's not a coward. Instead, he fought back, and he was right all along. That's why we say, in the context of politics, give us just one strong leader and watch the amazing things that can happen. We told you from day one, Shawn Fain has the correct strategy. We told you way before it actually happened. And now he delivers, because it's not about Shawn Fain, even though he's awesome. It's about the idea that you fight back. Power never concedes without a demand. You need to make a demand in order to win some power for the average American. So thank you, Shawn Fain, for not only delivering for your workers, for your members in the union, but also showing how it's done. Please, everyone else, learn from Shawn Fain. Anna.
The only thing I wanted to add to that is the other thing that the corporate media tried to do was pit ordinary Americans against the workers striking, because the argument was, oh, the strike is gonna be so devastating to your personal finances. It's gonna lead to increased prices for cars. And I'm really, really proud of the American people, because they didn't buy that garbage, they didn't take that hateful bait, and instead showed a significant amount of support to the striking workers. And that's why I love this country and I love the American people, regardless of what their political affiliation happens to be, because at the core of all of us is this fierce fight for justice, a fierce fight to look out for one another, and I want to get back to that place. We saw a little bit of that when it came to this strike, and I think that we can band together to fight on behalf of one another in lieu of our politicians, by the way. And so just keep that in mind. Final thing I'll say is the UAW swung for the fences and got a lot of their demands, but not everything they wanted. So this, I don't think, is gonna be an issue when it comes to the workers signing off on the agreement. We'll see. I don't want to speak on their behalf. However, the UAW initially demanded a 32-hour work week and pledges from the automakers that if they closed any factories, they would continue paying workers indefinitely to do community service. But those terms didn't make the deals. The union also failed in its bid to restore defined benefit pensions for all workers, but it did force the automakers to increase their contributions to 401k retirement accounts. And look, this is just my personal opinion. At the end of the day, what matters is how the workers feel about it. I think given the other massive concessions, what they didn't get is really not that big of a deal, okay? A 32-hour work week is amazing, and I would love that. But I don't think that's gonna be the sticking point for the workers, considering how much they're going to see their pay increase as a result of these concessions.
Yeah. So I have a last thing to say. First of all, just real quick on that, Shawn Fain, again, brilliant. Because you asked for a 32-hour work week. He never wanted the 32-hour work week. He asked for that so that he could have negotiation leverage, so he can get a 70% pay raise for new people coming in, 33% pay raise for the senior workers, okay? That's called strategy. I know our side, the left and the Democrats, haven't seen strategy in 40 years. If a Democratic leader saw strategy, they wouldn't know what it is. They'd be like, what is that? My strategy is give in to Republicans, give the rich everything. What do you mean? What strategy? Okay, now the final thing. Don't be cool. You know how everybody's telling you, be cool, be cool. And the media is telling you that 24/7 in every way. Don't get all heated. Don't be cool, be cool. Don't try, whatever you do, it's not gonna work. Lose hope, don't try at anything. Well, they were wrong. You try, you win. You don't win the first time. You try and try and try and try again until you win. Until you win. Don't listen to anybody telling you be cool, don't try. They're trying to get you to lay down so they can run over you. No, get up. All of you try, and all of you will make a difference. Look at Shawn Fain. He made a giant difference. And those, by the way, it's not just Shawn Fain. He's right when he said you about his union members. Because his union members throughout the old guard brought him in and empowered him. He's only strong because he's their voice. So thank you, unions and UAW, for fighting back, not just for yourselves, but for all American workers.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.